The human named Evan Hull never planned to stop on that cold, broken moon. He only wanted a shortcut through the nebula path, but his ship's scanner kept picking up a strange signal, weak, shaky, almost like someone was crying for help. He tried to ignore it at first, but the sound kept echoing in his ears. It wasn't a normal distress call. It felt personal, like someone was whispering directly to his heart. Evan landed on the rocky surface, dust rising around his boots. The air was thin, and the silence felt heavy. He followed the signal into a narrow cave, his flashlight trembling slightly in his hand. He didn't know why he felt nervous. Maybe because the cave felt alive, like it was watching him. Then he saw her, a small figure curled against the stone wall, shaking, barely breathing. Her skin glowed faint blue, thin, like someone had drained all strength from her. Her silver hair was tangled, and her large crystal eyes blinked slowly, struggling to stay open. She looked young, not a child, but not fully grown either. An alien girl, starving, lost and scared. Evan stepped closer. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her head lifted weakly. She stared at him as if she had never seen a human before. Maybe she hadn't. She whispered something, but the voice was too soft. Evan knelt down, lowering his flashlight. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." Her body trembled again, and she reached out very slowly, like she expected him to disappear if she moved too fast. Her fingers brushed his sleeve. Then she suddenly grabbed him and pulled herself into his chest, clinging to him with surprising strength. Evan froze. "Whoa, hey, it's all right. I'm here." Her face pressed against his jacket as she breathed him in. Then, in a voice thin as a thread, she whispered, "You smell like home." Evan felt his heartbeat stop for a moment. Home? To her? A human? He looked around the cave, nothing but darkness and cold stone. Whatever she had gone through, it must have been terrible. No wonder she clung to the first warm thing she felt. He gently placed his arm around her. "You're safe now. I'll help you. What's your name?" She didn't answer. Her breathing was too weak. Evan noticed how light she felt in his arms, almost weightless. She hadn't eaten for days, maybe longer. He lifted her up carefully. Her fingers tightened around his shirt, terrified of losing him. "Don't worry," he murmured. "I'm not going anywhere." When he stepped outside the cave, the moon's cold wind hit them. The alien girl shivered violently, so he wrapped his jacket around her. She buried her face in his chest again, making small, soft sounds, half fear, half relief. His ship wasn't far, but each step felt heavy. He kept glancing down at her, wondering what kind of life she had before this. Why was she alone? Who abandoned her? Or who was she running from? Inside the ship, warmth filled the air. Evan placed her on the small medical bed. She didn't let go of his hand even for a second. If he tried to move, her grip tightened. "You're safe," he repeated softly. "I promise." Her eyes opened slightly. "You human?" "Yes." She blinked slowly, confused but calm. "Your scent? Warm. Safe." She struggled to speak. "Like home." Evan felt something twist inside his chest. He didn't know what that meant for her species, but it sounded important, emotional, bonding, something deep. He ran a scanner over her body. Her energy levels were dangerously low. She needed food, rest, and time. He gave her water first. She drank slowly, her hands shaking. When he handed her a small nutrient pack, she tried to sit up but fell forward. Evan caught her gently and helped her eat. "Easy," he said. "One bite at a time." When she finished, she leaned back against him again, her head resting on his shoulder. She seemed to trust him completely, even though they had met only minutes ago. Maybe because she had no one else. Maybe because she had been alone for too long. After a while, her breathing became steady. She whispered one last thing before falling asleep. "Please, Don't leave. Evan swallowed hard. I won't, he answered. Not now. Not ever. He didn't know who she was, where she came from, or why she chose him. But he knew one thing. This was not a normal rescue. This was the beginning of something much bigger, something the galaxy itself wasn't ready for. And it all started with 6 fragile words. You smell like home. Human. Evan Hawley didn't sleep that night. The alien girl lay on the medical bed, breathing softly, her hand still wrapped tightly around his wrist, as if he were the last warm thing in the universe. Even in sleep, her fingers refused to loosen. Every time he tried to move away, even a little, she made a small sound of fear, almost like a wounded animal who had been hurt too many times. He had rescued many people before. Traders, miners, stranded crews. But this was different. This girl was not asking for help. She was clinging to him like he was her only anchor to life. Evan sat beside her, watching the soft glow of her blue skin. It pulsed gently with her heartbeat, like starlight trapped under her skin. Her hair, long and silver white, spread over his arm like delicate threads of moonlight. Who are you? He whispered. His ship's AI Cora beeped softly. Unknown species detected. Genetic code partially matches the Zephyrin cluster, but incomplete. Possibly hybrid or experimental variant. Hybrid? Experimental? Evan looked at the girl again. She didn't look dangerous. She looked broken. Something created but abandoned. Something rare, delicate, and hunted. Suddenly she stirred. Her eyes opened slowly wide, crystal clear, and glowing with a gentle violet light. She looked at him as if waking from a nightmare. When she saw his face, her expression softened. You stayed. Evan nodded. Of course. I told you I wouldn't leave. She blinked, confused. Most. Leave. Well, he said gently. I'm not most people. Her grip on his wrist tightened again. You smell safe. Evan had no idea what that meant scientifically, but emotionally it hit him like a punch. Whatever her species associated with home, she sensed it in him. Maybe humans had something she needed. Something she trusted more than her own kind. He spoke softly. What's your name? She hesitated. Liara. The name floated in the air like a whisper from another world. Evan smiled. It's nice to meet you, Liara. She looked down at her hands, almost ashamed. Sorry. I hold you. I not mean to. Scared. Evan gently placed his hand over hers. It's okay. You can hold on if you need to. Her eyes widened, surprised by his kindness. No one says that before. What happened to you? Evan asked quietly. Liara trembled, her breath catching. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. They come, take us. Experiment, hurt. She pressed her forehead against his arm, shaking. I run. But I fall. Could not breathe. Could not eat. Thought. End. Her whole body curled again. Afraid of the memory. Evan felt a boiling anger in his chest. Someone had done this to her. Someone had chased her until she nearly died on a cold moon. Someone had treated her like a test subject. Who chased you? He asked gently. Liara shook her head. Bad ones, hunters. They want my kind. They want our light. Your light? She touched her chest where her skin glowed faintly. Inside. We carry energy, rare. They sell it. Evan's jaw clenched. Traffickers. Illegal hunters. The kind of people he hated most. Liara reached for his jacket again. But you. Different. You warm. You smell like safe place. Her words made something inside him shift, some instinct to protect her that he couldn't explain. Suddenly, Kora beeped loudly. Warning. Unknown ships approaching. Tracking recent activity near your location. Evan stood up. Hunters? Possibly, the AI replied. Lyra's eyes widened in panic. She grabbed his arm with both hands. No, don't let them take me. Please. Evan knelt beside her again, holding her shoulders. I won't let anyone take you. Not while you're with me. Liara looked straight into his eyes, searching for any sign of a lie. She found none. Her voice softened, trembling. You promise? I promise, Evan said without hesitation. Outside, the radar continued to beep. The ships were getting closer. The hunters had tracked her here. They were coming for her energy. And now for her. Liara pressed herself against him, terrified. Please. Keep me. Please. Evan gently lifted her, wrapping her in his jacket again. Hold on, Liara, we're leaving this place. She clung to him desperately, her arms around his neck, her face buried against him just like the first time. You smell like home. She whispered again, but this time the words carried hope instead of fear. Evan ran to the cockpit, Liara holding onto him as if her life depended on it, because it did. The engines roared to life. The hunters' ships appeared on the scanner. Evan tightened his grip on her. Don't worry, he whispered. They're going to regret chasing you. And with that, the ship blasted upward, carrying a human, an alien girl, and a new bond against. The stars streaked past the ship's window as Evan pushed the engine to its limits. Liara clung to him from the co-pilot's seat, still wrapped in his jacket, trembling with every vibration of the ship. She had never been in a human vessel before, but right now she didn't care. As long as she stayed close to him, she felt safe. Safe in a way she had never felt in her life. Behind them, two dark hunter ships locked onto their trail, sleek, silent, and deadly. Like shadows shaped into machines, KOR's voice broke the tense silence. Warning, hostile vessels at 200 kilometers and closing. Lyra's breath hitched. They find me. They always find me. Evan reached over and gently placed his hand over hers. Not this time. Liara looked up at him, her violet eyes wide with fear and trust all mixed together. Why, help me. Humans do not know my people. You owe me nothing. Evan kept his eyes on the controls. You were alone, scared, starving. Someone had to help you. He glanced at her briefly. And I'm not letting anyone take you, not while I'm alive. Lyra's heart beat faster at his words. She wasn't used to protection. She wasn't used to kindness. She had lived in a world where survival depended on running, hiding, praying she wouldn't be caught. But this human, he stayed. He fought. He promised. Evan. She whispered softly, as if his name alone anchored her to safety. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A blast hit the rear hull. Cora shouted, "Shields at 70%. Evan cursed under his breath. We need to lose them in the debris field. He dove the ship downward toward a massive cluster of broken asteroids, old mining remnants floating in space, like shattered teeth. Liara grabbed his arm tightly. Too dangerous. That's why it'll work, Evan said. They won't follow too deep. He maneuvered the ship between sharp rock pieces spinning in unpredictable patterns. The hunters followed, but not as smoothly. They fired again, but the shots hit drifting stones instead of Evan's ship. Liara leaned close, her forehead touching his shoulder. I slow you down. If I go, you safe. They want me, not you. Evan snapped his head toward her, eyes fierce. Don't ever say that again. I'm not giving you up. Her breath caught in her throat. No one had ever spoken for her like that. No one had ever chosen her over their own safety. You, protect me, she whispered. Always, he answered without hesitation. Another explosion rocked the hull. Alarms screamed. Cora announced, shields at 50%. Damage to rear thrusters, Liara trembled. They break ship. They take me. No, Evan growled. Not today. He reached over, grabbed the manual control stick, and jerked hard to the left. The ship swung behind a large asteroid, using its shadow as cover. The hunters overshot, scanning wildly. For a moment, silence returned. Lyra's fingers loosened slightly, her breathing slowing. But Evan wasn't finished. He activated the reverse thruster's silent mode. The ship drifted behind the hunter vessels. Lyra's eyes widened. You attack them? Just stopping them from hurting you. He charged the front cannons and fired 2 precise shots. Boom! One hunter ship exploded into a cloud of dark fire. The second hunter spun out of control, heavily damaged. Liara gasped, not in fear, but in awe. Evan's voice was calm, almost cold. That's for chasing you. Cora chimed. Enemy capability reduced by 70%. They are retreating. Liara blinked slowly, tears forming at the corners of her glowing eyes. You saved me again. Evan exhaled, leaning back in the seat. You're safe now. They won't come back soon. She looked at him for a long moment, studying his face as if memorizing every line. Humans are strange. In a bad way? Evan asked with a tired smile. Liara shook her head and touched his chest gently. In a warm way. You risk your life for someone you don't even know. I know enough, Evan said softly. You needed me. Liara swallowed hard, her voice tiny. I don't want to be alone anymore. He placed his hand over hers. You're not alone. Not while you're with me. Something inside her, something fragile and half-broken, slowly started to heal. For the first time in years, Liara felt hope. But just as the ship stabilized, Cora interrupted again. Alert! There's a distress signal nearby. Origin, unknown research station. Evan frowned. Research station? Out here? Liara's body stiffened instantly. A research station. She whispered, her voice shaking. That is where my people were kept. Where they experimented. Evan stared at the scan. The station was active, and it was close. Lyra's hand gripped his tightly again. Please, don't go there. Evan looked at her, then at the screen. Danger, answers, secrets, and maybe the people who hurt her. He took a slow breath. We won't go in, he said gently. Not until you're ready. Liara leaned into him, closing her eyes. You really smell like home, she whispered again. Evan didn't know what home meant to her people, but he knew he would become it if that's what she needed. And the galaxy was only beginning to see what this human-alien bond was capable of. The stars had calmed. The engines hummed softly. But inside the ship, the air felt tense, like something unseen was watching them. Liara sat beside Evan, her knees pulled close, his jacket still wrapped around her small frame. Even after escaping the hunters, she kept leaning into him, afraid to lose the warmth she finally found. Evan didn't push her away. He let her stay close, sensing how much her trembling body needed comfort, but his eyes kept drifting to the hologram on the screen. The research station. A lonely metal giant floating in the empty dark, silent, abandoned. Or maybe pretending to be. Cora displayed its faint life sign readings. Energy signature consistent with older labs. Potential activity detected on lower decks. Evan frowned. What exactly were they researching here? Liara's voice cracked before she answered. My people. Her fingers gripped the fabric of his sleeve tightly. They take us. Drain our light. Test us like creatures. She shook her head, breath shaking. Some never come out. Evan's jaw tightened, anger rising again. He wanted to protect her. He wanted justice for whatever had been done to her. But Liara touched his hand with urgent fear. Please, Evan. Don't go inside. I won't, he said softly. Not unless we have no choice. But the distress beacon kept flashing on the screen, continuous, desperate, looping every few seconds. Someone inside was still alive. Someone calling for help. Liara curled into herself. Could be trap. They send signal when they need new test subjects. Evan placed a reassuring arm around her. Then we stay careful. She leaned against him, closing her glowing eyes, letting his presence calm her trembling. Stay with me. she whispered. Always, he replied. Hours later, as the ship drifted at a safe distance from the station, Evan checked the scanners again. Something had changed. Cora announced. New signature detected. Unknown life form approaching the ship. Liara stiffened instantly. A small pod drifted across the darkness round, metallic, its lights flickering weakly. Someone inside. Evan murmured. Liara grabbed his hand hard. No, no more rescuing. Too dangerous. Evan squeezed back gently. You were alone too, Liara. What if this person needs help just like you did? Her breath trembled. I don't want you hurt. He smiled softly. I'm not that easy to break. But as the pod rotated, a symbol became visible on its side, an angular mark etched into metal. Liara gasped. That belongs to hunters. Evan's eyes narrowed. So they were here. Liara backed away slightly, fear rising again. They send scouts. Scouts send signals. Then more hunters come. The pod was close now, almost touching the ship. Cora warned, no life signs, but internal power still active. Potential danger. Evan rose from his seat. I'm going to open it. Liara rushed forward and grabbed his wrist with both hands. No, please. They hurt me. They hurt my people. Don't let them hurt you. Please stay. Evan gently cupped her cheek. I'll be fine, I promise. She trembled, but something in his steady calm softened her fear. You always keep promises, she whispered. He nodded. In the airlock, the pod hissed open. Evan raised his weapon, just in case. Inside was no hunter. No creature. Nothing alive, but there was a recording device, cracked and half-burnt. He picked it up carefully. Cora played the audio, static, screams, metal scraping. Then a weak voice. This station is not abandoned. The light experiments have grown beyond control. Anyone receiving this, do not enter. The message cut out. Evan stood still, heart pounding. The experiments weren't just cruel, they were unstable. Liara appeared at the door, panicked. You see? I say it. They created something. Something wrong. Something dangerous. Evan stepped toward her. We're not going inside, but someone sent that signal recently. Someone might still be alive. Liara shook her head, tears forming. You are human. You help everyone. But you cannot help dead ones. You stay with me, please. He placed his hands on her shoulders. I'm here with you. But I also can't ignore someone who might need help. Liara lowered her head, whispering, I need help too. Evan froze. Those words hit him deeper than any alarm or threat ever could. He gently pulled her into his arms. I know, and I'm not leaving you. Liara melted against him, her glowing skin warming as she breathed slowly, trusting his strength again. But then, Cora beeped sharply. New vessels detected. Multiple hunter ships approaching. Estimated arrival, 15 minutes. Liara's eyes widened in terror. They come for me. Evan tightened his hold. No, they come for all of us now. She looked up at him, voice trembling. What we do? Evan stared at the research station, then at her. A dangerous idea formed in his mind. We go inside, he said quietly. Liara shook her head violently. No, no. The research station loomed ahead like a gigantic steel corpse floating in the dark. Its metal plates were cracked, its windows shattered, and the faint emergency lights flickered like dying stars. Evan guided his ship toward the docking ring, while Liara clung to him, trembling harder with every passing second as the docking clamps connected with a loud metallic thud. The whole ship shivered. Liara whispered, voice thin and frightened. This place. It remembers screams. Evan placed a gentle hand over hers. I know you're scared. But I'm here. You won't face this alone. She nodded weakly, though her glowing eyes were full of fear. The airlock hissed open. Cold air rushed inside, stale, metallic, almost tasting like old blood. The hallway beyond was dim, filled with drifting dust and floating debris. Evan stepped forward first, scanning the corridor with his weapon ready. Liara followed close, holding his sleeve with one shaking hand. The deeper they walked, the clearer the feeling became. This place was not abandoned. Something moved in the walls. Something watched them, Liara whispered. The dark here. It has eyes. Evan slowed. Do you sense something? Liara nodded. My people. We feel energy. Pain leaves marks. This place is full of it. As they turned a corner, a light flickered violently, illuminating a long row of broken containment pods. Some were shattered, others still glowing faint blue like they once held creatures similar to Liara. She gasped, covering her mouth with both hands. These were my kind. Evan stepped closer to a pod. Inside lay scorched patterns, claw marks, dried faint glowing residue like someone struggled to escape. Liara reached trembling fingers to the glass. My sisters. My brothers. They all brought here. Her voice broke completely. Evan gently placed his arm around her shoulders. We'll find out who did this. I promise. But before she could answer, a sudden metallic clang echoed through the hall. Something moved. Not footsteps. Not machinery. Something skittered. Liara froze. They left something alive here. Evan raised his weapon. Get behind me. She pressed herself to his back, clutching his jacket tightly. The sound came again, faster now. Scraping along the vents above them, Kora's voice whispered through Evan's earpiece. Warning. Unidentified lifeform detected. High energy signature. Approach with caution. Liara grabbed Evan's arm in panic. It feeds on light. It feeds on us. Evan frowned. What is it? She shook her head. A failed experiment. They tried to combine our energy with predator cells. It became wrong, hungry, blind. It senses warmth, movement, fear. Evan's grip tightened around his weapon. So it follows noise. Yes. And heartbeats. Evan placed a steady hand on Lyra's shoulder. Stay quiet. Stay close. The skittering grew louder. Closer. Evan pulled her into a small maintenance room and shut the door gently. The room was barely lit, filled with dusty equipment. Liara curled against him, shaking uncontrollably. He wrapped his arms around her. Breathe slowly. I've got you. But just as Liara calmed, a deep growl vibrated through the metal floor. The creature was outside. It sniffed the air long. Wet, hungry breaths. Liara covered her mouth to avoid making a sound. Her glowing skin dimmed instinctively to hide them. Evan held her tighter, whispering into her hair. Don't move. Don't speak. They could hear it crawl past the door, scraping claws dragging across steel. Then it stopped right in front of them. Evan's heart hammered, but he kept still. Liara pressed her forehead to his chest, trying to sync her breath with his steady rhythm. The creature exhaled. They failed. Low hiss testing the air for life. Then silence. A long, terrifying silence. Evan didn't speak until several minutes passed and the sound faded away. Liara trembled violently in his arms. It hunts anything alive. It does not care what. It would eat me. It would eat you. Hey, Evan whispered softly, lifting her chin. Nothing is touching you while I'm here. Her eyes shimmered with fragile trust. You always protect me. Why? Evan brushed her hair gently. Because someone should have protected you long ago. Her breath caught. She leaned her forehead against his chest again, whispering, You smell like home. He held her for a moment longer before standing. We need to keep moving. If hunters arrive, we can't be trapped here. Liara nodded and took his hand again. As they left the room, Evan spotted something glowing faintly at the end of the hallway, a control panel still active. Kora, he whispered. What's that? A research terminal. It may contain logs about the experiments. Liara squeezed his hand. Evan, please, do not watch. It will hurt you. Evan shook his head. If they hurt you and your people, I need to know everything. He stepped toward the terminal. Liara stood behind him. Trembling, the screen flickered to life, showing files labeled with chilling words. Subject: Liara Phase 3 Test Energy Extraction Report. Hybridization failure, surviving subject escaped. Liara's breath broke. That was me. Evan's blood ran cold. They had been hunting her specifically. He turned to Liara, pulling her into a tight embrace. They won't touch you again. Not ever. But before she could speak, an alarm suddenly blared. Intruder detected. Station lockdown initiated. Liara's eyes widened in horror. They found us. Evan held her close, whispering fiercely, Then let them come. They'll find out what happens when someone threatens my home. Liara's glowing eyes softened. Not her species' home. Red alarms flashed across the corridor walls, bathing everything in a pulsing blood-colored glow. The station hissed and groaned as metal barricades slid into place, sealing exits one by one. A mechanical voice echoed everywhere. Lockdown engaged. Intruders will be detained. Liara flinched at every echo, her hands flying to her ears as if the voice itself caused pain. They know we're here. The hunters. The station. Everything wants us trapped. Evan gently cupped her face. Hey, look at me. She lifted her terrified violet eyes. We'll get out, he said. But we do it together. Liara nodded weakly, her trembling slowing just a little from his steady calm. But then, a deep roar shook the hallway, not mechanical, alive. Lyra's skin dimmed with fear. The creature. It heard the alarms. It will hunt anything that moves. Evan positioned himself in front of her, weapon ready. Then it's hunting the wrong ship. They moved through the maze-like corridors, stepping around broken machinery and shattered glass. Every few seconds, the metal above them rattled as something massive crawled through the vents. Liara whispered urgently, It feels our warmth. It follows heat, movement, fear. Evan slowed his breathing. Then stay close. Match my steps. She pressed herself against his back, copying every motion he made. The stench of old experiments filled the air, chemicals, burnt metal, and something far worse. The deeper they went, the more Liara's panic rose. Suddenly, she froze. Her eyes glowed faintly, a frightened warning. What is it? Evan whispered. Liara swallowed nervously. Someone. Alive. Evan turned toward the shadows at the end of the hall. A figure leaned against the wall, shaking, barely able to stand. He approached slowly. Hey, are you okay? Can you hear me? The figure lifted his head. A man, weak, pale, wearing a torn researcher uniform. Liara gasped. Evan, no. He is not. Before she could finish, the man lunged forward with unnatural speed. Evan fired on instinct, hitting the floor near the man's feet. Stop, I'm warning you. But the man didn't stop. His eyes glowed the same color as Lyra's, but twisted, corrupted, wrong. His veins pulsed with unstable energy. Liara screamed. He is changed. He is not human anymore. The man hissed a sound no human throat should make. Evan grabbed Liara and pulled her behind him. The creature man rushed forward. Evan shot again. This time directly into its chest. The thing collapsed, twitching, then went still. Liara covered her mouth, trembling. That was once one of the scientists. They used my people's light on themselves. It broke them, made them hungry like the creature. Evan stared down at the body, jaw tightening. Your people were tortured, and they tried to steal your abilities. Liara nodded, tears forming. They wanted to become like us, but they only made monsters. Suddenly, metal screeched overhead. The real creature had arrived, a massive, Multi-limbed shadow crashed through the vent, landing with a bone-shaking thud. Its skin was slick and black, stretched over a glowing core. Its mouth opened in a jagged scream, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. Liara grabbed Evan's hand in terror. "It sees us!" The creature lunged Evan Dove aside, pulling Liara with him just in time. Claws scraped the floor inches from her feet. Evan fired 3 shots, boom. Boom, boom. The blasts hit the creature's armor like hide. Slowing it but not stopping it, Liara cried. "Its heart, the glowing part. Hit that." Evan fired at the glowing core. Direct hit. The creature screeched and staggered backward, sparks erupting from its chest. But it didn't fall. It got angrier. It charged again. Evan pushed Liara into a side hallway. "Run! No!" she cried, clinging to his arm. "I won't leave you. Liara, go." She shook her head fiercely. "You protect me. Now I protect you." Evan had no time to argue. He grabbed a loose metal pipe from the ground, swinging it upward with all his strength. Crack! The creature reeled but didn't fall. Liara stepped forward, her palms glowing bright for the first time. Evan stared in shock. "Liara, what are you doing?" she whispered. "I will not be hunted anymore." Her entire body shimmered with radiant blue light, stronger than before. Pulsing like a star, the creature shrieked and tried to shield its face from her brightness. Evan realized it fed on light, but her energy was too pure, too powerful. TOO controlled. Liara extended her hands. A wave of... The station shook again as hunter dropships slammed into its outer hull. Metal screeched. Lights flickered. The whole structure trembled like a wounded beast trying to stand. Evan held Liara in his arms as he moved through the hallway, her head resting weakly against his shoulder. Her energy glow had dimmed to a faint shimmer, beautiful, fragile, but dangerously low. Liara spoke softly, her voice barely a whisper. "They come for me. They always come." "Not this time," Evan muttered. "I won't let them." She clutched his jacket weakly. "You protect me too much. You get hurt. I'd rather get hurt than lose you." Her eyes softened, glowing faintly. "No one ever said that to me." They reached a large chamber, the main reactor room. Pipes lined the walls, steam hissed upward, and the faint hum of unstable power filled the air. Cora spoke through Evan's earpiece. "Hunters are spreading through the station. Stay alert. They appear armed and coordinated." Liara stiffened. "They bring collars. Energy cages. They will trap me. They will drain my light until I fade." Evan gripped her hand. "No, I won't allow that. You aren't going anywhere with them." A loud metallic clang echoed through the doorway. Hunters entered. 6 of them at first, tall, armored, their weapons crackling with energy nets designed specifically for capturing Liara's kind. Liara backed away, trembling violently. "No, no." Evan stepped in front of her. "Stay behind me." One hunter stepped forward, voice mechanical behind the helmet. "Human, hand over the specimen. You will be paid, or allowed to live." Evan aimed his weapon without hesitation. "She's not a specimen." The hunter tilted his head. "She is property. Biological resource. Her energy is worth more than solar crystal." Liara whimpered, clutching Evan's shirt. "Please, don't let them cage me again." Evan's voice deepened, cold and furious. "Over my dead body." The hunter nodded. "Acceptable." Everything erupted at once. The hunters fired their nets. Evan grabbed Liara and rolled behind a reactor pillar. The net sizzled against metal, chewing through it instantly. Liara gasped. "They will destroy everything to reach me." "Good," Evan growled. "Then they'll get my answer sooner." He fired back 3 shots, precise and lethal. 2 hunters fell immediately. The remaining 4 moved in fast, their boots thundering across the metal floor. Liara shook her head desperately. "You can't beat them alone." "I'm not alone," Evan said. He glanced at her glowing hands. Lyra's eyes widened. "No, I can't. I'm weak. I'll burn myself out." "Then we fight smart," Evan said. "Not hard." He pressed his forehead to hers briefly. "Liara, do you trust me?" Her breath hitched. "With everything." "Then listen to me." He whispered a plan in her ear, simple. "Risky, but their only chance." Liara nodded. Fear mixing with fierce determination. The hunters closed in. Evan stepped out first, drawing their fire. They launched nets at him. Liara raised her hand and released a burst of faint blue light. Not strong enough to attack, but strong enough to bend the nets. The energy nets warped midair, striking the walls instead of Evan. The hunters hesitated. That was all Evan needed. He sprinted forward, slamming into the nearest hunter, knocking him off balance. Another fired at him. Liara shielded him with a thin burst of light. Evan seized the hunter's arm, twisted, and fired point-blank into his chest. 3 down, 2 left. Liara collapsed to her knees, panting, her glow fading fast. "Liara!" Evan rushed toward her, but the last 2 hunters fired together. 2 nets hit Evan's legs, locking them with electric pulses. He fell forward, unable to move. Liara screamed, "Evan!" The hunters advanced on her, weapons raised. One reached out with a capture collar. Liara crawled backward, tears streaming, glowing dimly. "No, no, please. Don't." The hunter hissed, "Your light belongs to us." But then Evan roared, "Get away from her." He tore at the electric nets with raw fury. The energy burned his skin, but he didn't stop. He pushed, pulled, ripped until the net's power unit snapped. The hunters turned toward him in shock. Evan rose, smoke burning off his skin. Liara stared in awe. "You break energy net with hands." "I told you," Evan said through clenched teeth. "I'm not letting anyone take you." He charged, grabbing one hunter and slamming him into the other. Their equipment cracked, sparks flew, and both collapsed under the force of his rage. Silence fell. Liara crawled to him, tears glowing in her eyes. "You're hurt. You're hurt because of me." Evan knelt, cupping her face gently despite the burns on his hands. "No, I'm alive because of you." Liara pressed her forehead against his chest, trembling. You really smell like home." He whispered into her hair, "And you feel like something worth protecting." Cora interrupted softly, "The hunters' reinforcements are minutes away. We must leave." Evan lifted Liara into his arms. "We're going, together." Liara rested against him, whispering, "Home is not a place. It's you." Evan smiled softly. "Then let's go home." They ran toward the docking bay as the station burned behind them, leaving monsters, hunters, and darkness in their wake. And for the first time in her life, Liara wasn't running from something.